بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Hope you're all well إن شاء الله. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الصعب إن شئت سهلا. آمين. Today we are going to do more exercise on comparing fraction to make it easier إن شاء الله and more understanding. Okay, Bismillah. Let us start together and remember the different types of fractions. The first one that we compared was the fractions that having the same denominators but they are different in numerators. For example, 7 by 9 and 2 by 9. When we look at these two fractions, they both have the same denominator is 9, but they are different in the numerator. This is 7 and 2. When you find a fraction like this, it's so easy to compare because we have a shape or anything that is divided into 9, and this one is shaded 7 parts and this is only shaded 2 parts, so automatically we know that the 7 is larger than 2. So every time you find fractions that they have the same denominators, you just look at the numerator. If the numerator, the one that you find is big, so it means it's larger than the other. The second one that we had is the fractions that have the same numerators but they have different denominators. For example, if I take 4 by 6 and 4 by 8. So here we see that they both have numerator the number 4, but they are different in the denominator. So when we find fraction like this, it's also an easy one. When you have same numerators, you look at the denominator. The smaller the denominator, it means that the fraction is larger than the other, because it means that this one is only divided into 6 parts, but this one is divided into 8 parts. So when you find fractions that have the same numerators and different denominators, you look at the denominator. The smaller the denominator, it means that that fraction is bigger than the other. Let us now move for the one that it's having different numerators and also at the same time different denominators. For example, 3 by 4 and 7 by 8. So when you want to compare this, you have to look for the common multiple, the least common multiple of the denominator, and that you are going to look for a number that they have in their multiplication table. They have the same. How is that? Let us look. For example, in the multiplication of 4, 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12, and so on. And here 8 times 1 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, and so on. Now we already see that there is a number that is the same. Here is 8 and here is 8. So we are going to change the denominator to be 8. So what did we do with the 4 to be 8 is that we multiplied it with 2. So we are going to do times 2, and the same thing with the numerator, also times 2. And what happened here is that 8 times 1 is 8. So we are going to do times 1 and times 1, and this will not change. Of course, it will stay the same. But here this one will change. So 3 times 2 will be 6 and 4 times 2 will be 8. Now we have new fractions, 6 by 8 and this one is 7 by 8. So now we can go and compare easily between 6 and 7. Now they have the same denominator but different the different numerators here. So which one is larger, the 6 or 7? Of course the 7. So now here we can know that it's 7 over 8 is bigger than 6 over 8. Please go and open your Pupils book on page 204. I want to do with you number 7 to explain it to you before you do it by yourself. Okay, the question say draw a ring around each fraction that is greater than a half. Number 7, draw a ring around each fraction that is greater than a half. So we are going to compare each one of these fractions with the half. I'm going to do the first one for you. Now this is the number that I'm going to compare it with the half to see if it's greater than the half or not. Okay, we have some ways there. I'm going to show you the first one. If you are going to draw a pie and divide it into 5 pieces, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4 5, okay, and this is the half. You are going to divide it into 2 parts, right? Okay, so now go and shade how many? 3. Okay, we are going to shade 3 parts, 1 2 and 3. Okay, now we have all this here. Okay, now we go and shade half of this one. So do they look the same? Do they look the same? Of course no, this one is bigger than this one, so this 3/5 is greater than the half. The other way to know if 3/5 is greater than the half is to look at the denominator. What is the half of the 5? What is the half of the 5? We all know that the half of the 5 is 2.5. It's 2.5. So you look at the numerator. Is the numerator 2.5? No, it's more than 2.5. So it means that this is more than the half of the 5. So this one is bigger than a half. Okay, let us now look at the number 5/8 and compare it to the half to see if it's greater than half. I'm going to draw a shape and divide it into 8. Okay, and here I'm going to draw a shape and go divide it into half. Okay, how many pieces are shaded? 5. So 1 2 3 4 and 5. So all this is shaded. Okay, and here one of the 2 parts are shaded. So when we just look at the 2 shapes, we can see that the 5/8 is greater than the half. And the other way that we said we can also find if it's greater, you have to look for the half of the denominator. It's 4, and you look at the numerator. You find that the numerator here is greater than 4, so this one is not a half, it's greater than the half.